Who's your gardener here? Hello, YouTube. It's a little echoey because I'm in my basement hallway, and I'm gonna take you down to the basement here and show you a few things. So, trying a new video app here. Let's see how well this thing works. Oh, here we are. Got some artwork from my kids. I like to hang them out here in my hallway entryway. They were in 4-H all their lives. I've still got 2 of them still in 4-H. It's a good program if you ever have children and teaches them leadership. It's a really good program. There we go. That's just my coat cabinet at the end of my hallway there. Oh, it's dark down here. Let me turn some lights on. Just had our holiday dinner, and so I had the garage all cleaned up, cleared out, and just put up all the tables and chairs last night. By the way, Merry Christmas. Hope everyone had a good holiday. Just going to try and do a short little video here. Number one, of course, you got to remember I was doing finishing up the holiday stuff. I didn't want to put this coffee maker up while it was still a little damp, so I left it open so it could dry. I just washed it by hand. I told you that sink was clean. I clean it about twice a year with the rust remover. Other than that, I clean it every time I use it, but it just looks rusty. So, but this is where the magic happens down here. This whole video is going to be about, you don't have to have the best of everything when you first start canning. Okay? Go to the garage sales. Ask older people for jars. They've probably got them in their basement, in their garages. They'd be more than happy to give them to you. A lot of people think I got to have the best canner. I've got to get me a better stove. You know, you don't. For example, this old stove, and I need to get some new rings for it now. They just had aluminum foil on it. This stove was free to me. Okay. I stopped and asked the guy on the side of the road. He just had it sitting there. And I asked him, I said, what's wrong with it? And he said, well, he said the oven doesn't work. He said the range works up top here. You know, the burners work. But the oven doesn't work. And I'm like, okay. So I'll take it. Because I'm honestly, I'm only going to be using the top anyways, you know. But me being a fixer, I was a diesel mechanic for 25 years. I could fix about anything. And so before I plugged it in, I pulled this panel off behind here, and I looked at this printed circuit board on the back of this, and I found that there was a burnt spot in it. And so I repaired that. Oven works fine. Totally free. It doesn't have to look pretty. Okay, it's in my basement, right? Dishwasher was given to me. And like, honestly, I use it more for a drying rack than anything. I wash my jars here, put them in here to dry, and stage them until I'm ready to put them in a canner. Free. That sink I was given to free. So, you know, start asking around. So, you know, if you need something, start looking for something. Start putting it out on Facebook, social media and stuff. These are all of my jars, canning jars, empty ones. A lot of these are empty boxes right now, you know, because I've got a lot of stuff canned up already. They're paper boxes, but I cut them down so they just fit my jar. And then that allows me to get four boxes all the way to the ceiling there. just a suspended shelf that I built out of scrap wood that someone was throwing away. And I built this shelving unit out of it. Okay, free. So when you get started, I want you to realize is you don't have to have everything. Get you some jars, get you some lids, get you an old canner, Goodwill, garage sales. You don't have to pay top of the line for the all-American canner. I have put up a lot of food out of a generic canner, okay? Or Presto, a lesser brand than the All-American. Don't get me wrong, I'm not beating up All-American. They are one of the best canners out there, trust me. But I don't have one to this day, and I've been doing this a long time. And you don't have to have the best of the best when you first get started, okay? All right, so enough about that. Let me show you over here real quick. Just an old cabinet. We've had this cabinet for probably 20 some years. But this is where I keep my, canning supplies and stuff in here. Okay. Just an El Cheapo, one of those that you screw together from the Walmart, probably from China. But that's why I keep my stuff in. Eventually, I want to make this situation better, Of course, we're always trying to make it better, whatever you do, no matter what you're doing. I do have some cabinets over there, and I'm going to put a row of cabinets at the top. They are sitting right here. The whole issue is we are below grade right here where I'm at. And so all of my plumbing is up here, okay? So everything, I need a sink, stuff like that over here. I have to have some way to move that water up and out. I don't have a drain that's below grade here. So my goal is, in this room right here is my game room. I want to build a restroom in there because we do a lot of parties down here during the holiday season. And it would be handy to have a restroom there. Well, if I put a restroom in there with an macerating toilet or an upflush toilet, it will allow me to put a sink right there and plumb it to that commode over here, so it will be able to pump it up and out. So it's not done yet, and it's because that commode is roughly about $1,000. So, who's your gardener? Just have to save up. But get started. These cabinets aren't new. I got them from, this was what I was going to tell you about. These cabinets are from Habitat for Humanity. When they go in and they refurb a house or redo a house for someone, they take some of the old cabinets out that are still good and still usable, and I give hardly nothing for these. So keep that in mind when you're trying to do a project like that. All right, enough about the saving and getting started on your canning supplies and such. Do a little bit at a time. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Do a little bit at a time. Now, let's go here, because I want you to see it is the day after Christmas. And I told you I was going to put tomatoes in bags and have tomatoes for Thanksgiving. Well, we did. We had all kinds of tomatoes for Thanksgiving. I actually cut up a huge plate. Sorry, the lighting down here is horrible. I cut up a huge platter of tomatoes and took them to Thanksgiving. I still have fresh garden tomatoes after Christmas. I mean, I've got them in different stages down here. Let me, sorry, get my finger. Down in here, get some out. See? These are those pineapple tomatoes. Put them in bags. Put them in the basement where it's cool and it's dark. I honestly, that's what these 3 little bags here are. I honestly think I could almost have tomatoes all the way up to January, probably the first week in January. And here I am, you know, at the end of the season, I was pulling green tomatoes off going, well, you know, we'll see if they'll do, but because some of mine were a lot further along than I wanted them to be. But here it is, day after Christmas. We had tomatoes for Christmas. And don't shortchange yourself is what I'm trying to say here. When you're doing your garden clean off, pick those tomatoes, green or not. Put them in some bags, put them in some boxes. This is just an old crate that I found years ago. And you've got tomatoes all the way past Christmas. I'm not joking. I think I'll probably have some until... See, I still got some green ones down in here. Now, these are Romas. But I'll probably have tomatoes after the 1st of January. So, something to think about when you're doing your end of the garden clear off. These are some gourds. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here staring at them. I grew them a couple, 2-3 years ago, and I let them dry out. This is supposed to look this way. Yes, that's mold on there. But they have to go through that process in order to dry out. You hear that? That it's the seeds in there. That tells me that this one here is ready to work with. And then I have some, I just do either artwork on them, and I will use a wood burner, and then I will make a birdhouse out of it or shellac it. Do all kinds of stuff with them just for fun. Give them as presents mostly, but just something fun to do. But thought I'd give you this little video today about tomatoes and about you know, budget gardening, how to get started, and how to ask your neighbors, your elderly people. I'm not kidding you. The elderly are tickled to death if you're interested in something like this. Because they used to do it. That's how they survived. That's how they lived. And they love to see that tradition passed on. And they're tickled to death to give you their old jars. So ask around. Ask somebody if they've got an extra can, or you know, they don't use a canner. I'm all the time. People find out that I have a garden and I can. And I have people all the time trying to give me a canner nowadays. And simply because they know it's useful. They don't do it anymore. They getting out of it, whatever the case may be. But, you know, it's just something that, you know, they find nostalgic to pass that on. So, this is my root cellar. Right up in here. Lighting in here is horrible. Because it's root cellar, right? It's basically just a little spotlight up here. See if I can shine this a little better over here. You can see all of the carrots and tomatoes, green salsa, red salsa, chili base, tomatillo salsa, pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, pickles. Got all kinds of pickled stuff down here. Got some candied pumpkin, tomatoes, mustard greens with bacon. I like to put bacon and onions and garlic in the bottom of them. Still got some potatoes. Yes, they've got eyes on them. They've got stuff trying to grow out of them. That's what potatoes do, people. Just knock them off and peel them up and eat them. They'll eat. And what doesn't get eaten, like these smaller ones, these will become my seed potato. I'll just plant them next year and they'll grow. So, all right. Happy holidays to everyone, and hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. From the old Hoosier Gardener, remember, you don't have to have the best of the best. You can start out canning and processing on a budget. You just got to look around, ask, hit them garage sales, hit the Goodwill, and you'll be able to do it. Lord bless. Have a good day.